Hello and welcome to Canadian Citizenship Test Preparation YouTube channel. In this channel you can find latest update and study material for Canadian Citizenship Test. Hope you find our video and study material helpful. Good luck on your test. If you learned something today, please press the subscribe button. George Brown was a Scottish-Canadian journalist, politician and one of the Fathers of Confederation, attended the Charlottetown and Quebec conferences. John George Lambton was appointed governor of Britain's Canadian colonies in 1838, following much political unrest. Sir George-Étienne Cartier, 1st Baronet, was a Canadian statesman and Father of Confederation. Sir Robert Laird Borden was a Canadian lawyer and politician who served as the 8th Prime Minister of Canada, in office from 1911 to 1920. John Buchan was popular Governor-General of Canada 1935 to 1940, said immigrants should retain their individuality and each make its contribution to national character. Gabriel Dumont was a Canadian political figure best known for being a prominent leader of the Métis people. Chris Austin Hadfield is a Canadian retired astronaut, engineer, and former Royal Canadian Air Force fighter pilot. The first Canadian to walk in space, Hadfield has flown 2 Space Shuttle missions and served as commander of the International Space Station. Emily Murphy, 1868–1933, Nellie McClung, 1873–1951, Irene Parlby, 1868–1965, Louise McKinney, 1868–1931, and Henrietta Muir Edwards, 1849–1931, were 5 female politicians and activists from Alberta who fought for women's rights in various ways. Viola Desmond was a businesswoman and part of Nova Scotia's small black community. In 1946 she attempted to sit in a part of a movie theater that was reserved for white customers and was arrested. Sir Louis Hippolyte Menard dit LaFontaine, 1st Baronet, was a Canadian politician who served as the first Premier of the United Province of Canada and the first head of a responsible government in Canada. Agnes MacPhail was an Ottawa schoolteacher who made history in 1921 by becoming the first woman ever elected to the Canadian House of Commons. Canada's most famous Aboriginal leader, Tecumseh, was head of the Shawnee Nation and a vital British ally during the War of 1812. The founding father of British Columbia, James Douglas, was the powerful governor of Britain's Pacific Northwest colonies from around 1838 to 1864. Sir John was the first governor of English-speaking Upper Canada, following the partition of Quebec into 2 colonies in 1792. At one time he was honoured as the founder of Ontario. Laura II was a young Canadian woman during the War of 1812. Secord overheard Jacques Cartier was a French explorer and the first European to make a substantial visit to what is now Canada. In 1534 he sailed into the Gulf of St. Lawrence, landing at modern-day Gaspé, Quebec. The Marquis de Montcalm (1712–1759) and James Wolfe (1727–1759) were the French and English commanders during the Battle of the Plains of Abraham (1759). Terence Stanley Fox was a Canadian athlete, humanitarian, and cancer research activist. Sir Samuel Leonard Tilley is believed to have suggested the name Dominion of Canada for the new country. He was a member of Sir John A. Macdonald's. Sir Frederick Banting, co-discoverer of insulin, a hormone to treat diabetes that has saved 16 million lives worldwide. Charles Herbert Best was an American-Canadian medical scientist and one of the co-discoverers of insulin. Sir Henri Charles Wilfrid Laurier was a Canadian politician and statesman who served as the 7th Prime Minister of Canada, in office from the 11th of July 1896 to the 6th of October 1911. Sir Arthur Currie, the first and only Canadian to command the Canadian Corps during the First World War, was a pivotal figure in the nation's war effort. Considered one of the finest generals of the war, Currie led the Canadian Corps to several important victories. Sir Sam was a superintendent in the newly formed Royal Canadian Mounted Police during the late 1800s. Tasked with managing police officers in the Western Canadian Territories, and later the Yukon, he became a celebrated figure of stern Canadian law and order. Sir John Alexander Macdonald was the first Prime Minister of Canada. The dominant figure of Canadian Confederation, he had a political career which spanned almost half a century. Called the founder of Quebec, Samuel de Champlain was a French explorer and governor who oversaw and directed much of his country's initial colonization of North America during the early 1600s. Louis Riel was the founder and first leader of the Western Territory of Manitoba, which under his leadership became Canada's fourth province in 1870.